Hi everyone, welcome back to the horror review. Today we're going to have a look at a film that I really enjoy. It's called the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Now, depending on where you see it, you may actually see it written as Devil's Pass. It holds both titles. It's a film that came out in 2013 and it's in the found footage genre. Now, this particular film is interesting in that the premise of it is an actual incident that happened. Um, if by the time we finished here you find yourself interested, take a look at the link in the description because that'll take you across to my other series, which is Hauntings, Mysteries and Legends, and I'll be covering the Dyatlov incident there. So the write-up for the film is a group of students go to the location of the infamous Dyatlov Pass incident to make a documentary, but things take a turn for the worse as the secret of what happened there is revealed. Now, the director, Rennie Harlin, he's directed quite a few things that you very well may have seen. So The Legend of Hercules, The Covenant, and Exorcist, The Beginning, and Deep Blue Sea, just to name a few. So chances are you've probably seen something that he's done. Well, Rennie Harlin actually spent some time in Moscow researching the government archives of what happened to make sure that he got the facts of the film right. Now, there is some sort of liberties taken when they talk about the placement of the bodies and things like that. But again, if you take a look at what when I'll be discussing the actual incident itself, you'll see what I mean. But all in all, I think he's done a really good job of capturing what happened. And with this, I think what I found really good was that it was approached very sympathetically, especially when you consider that 9 people died. You've got to have a certain level of sympathy when you're talking about it. So I was really happy with that. Now, with this film, he's gone with his idea of what caused the incident itself. Now, I won't be giving anything away by telling you what his idea is because it still leaves quite a lot of interpretation. But essentially, his idea is a government experiment gone wrong. And he puts a really interesting spin on it, I think. I do really enjoy it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a horror movie ending. And I think it's a little far-fetched, but it's still fun. One other thing I love about this is that it was actually shot in northern Russia. So the scenery is absolutely spectacular. Now, for the film, Rennie Harlin actually wanted to use mostly unknowns. So in the film, now the actors have been in other things, but it's sort of hit and miss whether or not you may have seen it. So Matt Stokoe is in it, and he was in Cursed, Jamestown, and a couple of episodes of Misfits. You've got Luke Albright, who was in Purgatory Road, and he had a very small part in American Satan. Ryan Hawley, now if you are in the UK, you very well might recognise him because he plays Robert Sugden in Emmerdale, and he's also been in the Magnificent 11. And then we've got Gemma Atkinson, who was also in Emmerdale, and she was also in Casualty and Hollyoaks. So if you're from the UK, you might recognise those two at least. Now, the film itself is done really well, and I quite enjoyed it. I think the cast sold it really well. Once the actors sort of put forward who they are, they really follow that as well. So you can get to know the characters, you can make a decision on whether or not you like that character and then follow it through. It's really interestingly shot. Now, it is in the found footage genre, but you don't get a lot of that shaky camera movement, which I don't like in found footage films because, in all honesty, it makes me feel a little sick sometimes if the camera's jumping all over the place. So you haven't got that here, which I think is really good. One of the critics actually wrote about this, that it's a mix of the Blair Witch and Chernobyl Diaries, which I've seen both of those, and I have to agree that that sounds quite accurate for how the movie goes. I was quite surprised to learn it only has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I had a look at some of the reviews there, and a lot of people aren't happy with the ending of the movie because they think it's a bit too fantastical. Now, what I would ask you to remember with that is there are actually more than 72 theories about what could have caused the Dyatlov Pass incident. And the writer has actually just gone for what he feels is a suitable horror movie ending, and it really is. It fits the bill there perfectly, so just bear that in mind. It, as with a lot of horror movies, it is a little more fantastical than believable, but this is not meant to be based on a true story. It is students going to the site of a true horror, so just bear that in mind. It's acted really well. It honestly is. Considering we're not talking big names, the acting is absolutely phenomenal, and the camera work is really good. And don't get me started on how breathtaking the scenery is. Knowing this film was filmed in northern Russia has made me want to go to the Ural Mountains even more than I ever did. With this film, I would honestly say it's well worth a watch. I've seen it about 6 or 7 times now, because I watched it the first time one night when I couldn't sleep, because I normally avoid found footage movies, but I chucked this one on, and I really enjoyed it. And my daughter came down towards the end, so I had to put it back on, and she loved it. Then I watched it with my sister. I've watched it with my parents as well, and then I bought it for myself on DVD, and I've watched it a couple of times since then. So I keep on going back to this film. That's how much I'm enjoying it. So I always say to people, if you've got any interest at all in the Dyatlov Pass incident, or if you're just looking for a good horror movie to throw on in the background that isn't going to require too much thought, that you can just sort of sit back and enjoy, this is a really good one to put on. So I was really shocked at the ratings. But like I said, a lot of people just seem to be very disappointed in the ending, which I do find happens a lot with films. So that's not too surprising. You can't please everybody. But yeah, take a look at this movie if you get a chance. It is really good. It's currently available on Amazon Prime. So if you have Prime, you can take a look at it there. And like I said, if you're at all interested in the actual Dyatlov Pass incident, click on the link below and take a look. Thank you, and have a good night.